Yo, 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 this is the Streetwise podcast. We're here to help you level up your game, level up your leadership, and level up your life. I'm your host, Matthew McReynolds. I'm a multi-brand franchisee, and I'm a franchise consultant, which means I help people find, launch, and build their ideal franchise business. Our main goal is to help you get off of zero and become the person that your dreams need you to be. Buckle up, get your popcorn ready. Let's go. Streetwise Nation, we got Suzanna Austin with us today with Canine Resorts. Miss Suzanna, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to talk to you. I love speaking to franchisees about their journey. So to start us out, I'm honestly, I'm curious, because I met you at the Allen Chamber of Commerce, right?
Yeah.
How long had you been with Canine Resorts before we met with the chamber?
Well, we've been trying to get this started for the last 2 years. Yeah,
Wow.
it's been
Okay.
a long journey. And I probably had been involved in the chamber for just maybe a few weeks when we met. So I'm pretty
Got
new
it.
to everything. So
Okay.
we started this sort of family adventure, and
Yeah.
it's just a long road to get to this point. So we've actually not opened yet. Our grand opening is scheduled for tentatively May 4th right now. That's our goal.
That's coming
Um,
up. That's
yeah,
exciting.
yes, it is. We are so excited. It has taken us a lot longer to get here than we had anticipated.
Sure. Okay. So you started the process a couple years ago. It's getting super close to your launch date. You guys are super excited. But you said something that was interesting to me. You said that this was a family adventure. Can you
Yes.
explain that a little bit to me? How does that work?
It's kind of an all hands on deck. My husband and I have 3 kids, 2 daughters, and our son is the youngest.
Okay.
My older daughter is a teacher in Florida, so she's kind of out a ways away, but she helps out with some of the social media posts, and she's cute with all of her teacher-esque kinds of
Yeah.
captions and whatnot. My son has done helped out a little bit with the marketing on the marketing side, just kind of been in charge of, getting the Hulu ad running and all that kind of stuff. Just very um, in there, but mostly hands off because he is also a student over at University of Central Florida. It
Awesome.
is my middle daughter, Madison, who will be our general manager, and she has been my trusty sidekick for the last 2 years.
Oh, that's amazing. How did you guys do that? What was the process like? What was going on that everybody wanted to go all in on this business together? I mean, that's a really
Yeah.
special thing.
I think around COVID time, I think my husband started getting a little bit restless.
Okay.
Being, what can I do? What's next? What does the next part of our lives look like? And
Yeah.
so he started looking around for, franchises, ideas. We kicked around a couple of ideas that just didn't seem like good fits. I'm not a kinesiologist. I don't know anything about stretch labs or,
Sure.
anything like that. So we wanted something that we were all felt that we all had a common interest in. And obviously, it was our pets. He grew up with dogs. I grew up with dogs. We've had dogs all of our children's lives as part of our family. And so, with that, Madison was already helping run another kennel not too far away. And so we've taken her expertise and slid right in.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so husband was getting a little antsy. You guys wanted to build something. What was the process like of finding Canine Resort? So you said that, you threw some different ideas around. Did you work with a consultant? Were you completely on your own? Were you doing your own research? Walk me through that process of when you first come up with the idea. You've got the entrepreneurial seizure, and it's like, okay, we got to do something to all right, now we're signing with Canine Resorts. And before launch, all that, before the 2 years of building, what was the journey like before? And what were those initial thoughts?
We did work with a consultant, and so we kind of, like I said, a couple of different industries, some that may have interested him, some that may have interested me, but nothing that was a collaborative
Sure.
interest. So, like I said, we came back to the whole dog thing. It's something that we all love and all have in common and are all interested in. My oldest daughter also has 2 dogs of her own, in addition to the 4 that we have living here in Texas. So so that is where the family kind of bonds in that regard. Um, but we had also investigated some of the, other franchise options. And after going back and forth, none of the other franchise options seemed to have the support or the brand recognition that Canine was already an established.
Interesting.
They're growing quick. So that's kind of how we landed on this particular brand.
How do you think having the franchise consultant helped? Do you think it would have taken longer, would have been more stressful? Where did they provide you value in the journey?
Um, it would have been more stressful, and we would probably still be thinking about it.
Yeah.
Giving us information, because I know it's so cliche to say that you don't know what you don't know,
Yeah.
but people who are already in the industry and are familiar with franchising and entrepreneurship are able to, provide you with information that you didn't know you needed. So there's that part that was really important.
Yeah. So, okay, explain to me one more time the roles of everybody inside of the business, and then we'll get into what the business actually is and how it serves the community. So, like your team, how are you guys structured going in pre-launch?
So the main there's five in my family that are helping out, but
Okay.
the main three are our little three-headed monster. Um, I kind of do the people aspect. I've been in charge of the hiring, and I'll take more of a sort of a human resource role in that regard. Madison will be more into the operations, the day to day. She'll be our general manager, so she's going to make sure that all of that is functioning properly. Um, Danny's our numbers guy, so he's kind of been keeping an eye on the checkbook, and he's mostly been following the construction and answering questions that way.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you. That gives me a really good understanding. But also, people who listen to this, a lot of people are individuals just like you, but they're just behind you on the journey. And so, what you're going through right now in this launch is telling you a story is going to be so helpful to some of these folks when they're, starting to take their first step. Okay, cool. So, what is Canine Resorts and how does this business, this franchise, provide value to the community?
Well, Canine Resorts is a luxury pet hotel.
Okay.
Um, yeah. With In addition to it just being just aesthetically pleasing,
Yeah.
it is a lovely building. We've got chandeliers, and I mean, it
Oh,
is
cool.
really nice. Everyone that has come in, we've kind of done some walking interviews with our soon to be teammates, and everybody that's come in has said they would like to stay there. The gentleman who's going to help us with our lawn care and maintenance. He is a resident and was so excited. He mentioned that he was thrilled that we are helping to beautify that particular corner. It had been sitting
Wow.
vacant for a while and it just wasn't
Yeah.
nice, but he felt like we were going to bring something to his neighborhood, and he actually thanked me. So that was nice.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Okay. Like community beautification projects are really special to me. My background is in education in the inner city of Chicago and in South Dallas. And so I've got a heart for areas, and it doesn't matter where, what part of the world, part of the city, but, bringing aesthetically pleasing opportunity and venues and businesses that offer support to a community will always touch my heart. What's going on, everybody? I hope you're liking the conversation this far. Please take a moment, give it a 5-star review. It really helps spread this out to as many people as possible. All right, let's get back to the episode. What is it? What is the luxury pet hotel? What defines luxury and what separates the business from other pet hotels?
We provide premium bedding for them. They all have it's
Okay.
a brand called Kuranda, and so this top of the line, and actually everything is top of the line. The corporate owners have gone across the United States, visiting and researching, and they've put together a team that is fine tuning, putting together everything that makes this a luxury resort. Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. So the franchise themselves, and you said earlier, they offer a lot of support. How's it been before you launched, though? I mean, 2 years, you couldn't have expected it was going to take this long. What's that process been like? What have been some things that have held you up, and how have they maybe supported you through this piece?
as far as their support goes, I have when I describe them to people, I've often said they're very much like the Hello Fresh of franchises,
Okay.
where they supply pretty much all the ingredients, and it's up to you to make sure that it turns out as you hoped.
Sure.
You
That's
got you
good.
can supply all of that. But some of what took us a while was some of it was us and actually deciding that we really were ready to make this gigantic leap as a family. That was a little bit of us dragging our feet. And the
Mm,
next was trying to find property and proper zoning for this type of establishment was probably the one of the bigger hurdles, just because Plano is pretty well built up, and we were not looking to build from the ground up. We wanted to kind of occupy a building that was already standing. Um,
okay.
so so that was because we were under the impression that it would take a lot longer if we were going from the ground up, where versus if we were just remodeling and doing a whole rebuild. Which it has actually, we didn't start the actual construction process until November, so it's actually going really fast, that part.
Got it. What has been more of the hold up was the zoning in the beginning?
The zoning in the beginning and
Okay.
making sure that we were all satisfied with the property. We were going out weekends and just driving around and just looking at, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Oh, we can't. The zoning, is an issue. Um, but when we found this originally, because like I said, the corner was not necessarily a beautiful corner. So we were not completely sold on it. But once I walked the property and saw that the building itself had good bones and knew what we were going to do to it, we made the decision to go ahead and go with this location.
Cool. Okay, so when it comes to businesses up and running, what's the ideal setup? And I understand that you're going to have to figure it out because you're still very early in the process, but you have had the training from the franchisor team so far. What's an ideal setup for the business owners? Like, who are you going to need staffing in for the business? What is that going to look like?
Well, staffing from the business, what I've actually first started to do was reach out to the community, because I too come from a similar background to yours. I come from the nonprofit world, and I have
Nice.
worked closely with kids from hard places and
Nice.
at a local shelter here in Plano. So I first reached out to them to talk with them about their transitional living clients and see if there was anybody that was available there. We did run into some issues just because Plano's not good with the public transportation on that end, and a lot of
Mm,
them don't have their own cars. But
yep.
we're still working closely to see what we can do to get that going. And I have heard back from them. We had a lovely
Cool.
meeting, and they're very interested in. And we're fluid because I expect some turnover, so we'll continue to reach out to them.
Yeah.
But as far as what we've got right now, I've got a younger crew, not on purpose. It just kind of has happened that way, who are all kind of starting out, um, letting them know that as an old lady, I am not afraid to learn from them and see what they have to offer me, and I'm also willing to mentor them with whatever information I can give them, be it about life, business, or anywhere in between. And hopefully, I've said this a million times, and I know my assistant manager is tired of hearing me say it. I don't expect for any of them to retire from Canine Resorts Plano, but I do expect them to grow. And I
Yes.
want them to have the ability to take any kind of, you know, uh, skill set that they can, take with them, and I can watch them fly, and it'll make me
Yes.
proud to do that.
That is beautiful. And, when I started with Mosquito Joe, it's crazy to think that this is my ninth season owning Mosquito Joe, which is also a franchise. And I learned very early on that I was going to be getting people that were younger, that were going to have less, maybe career experience. Maybe they're older, but they've kind of been recycled through blue collar work for a really long time. And I would always tell people, I don't expect you to stay here forever. I'm sure there will come a day when we do depart, but when that day comes, I want you to leave in a better place and better skilled and better developed personally and professionally than you were when you came in, whether that's 2 weeks or 5 years. And now, we've had this team, we've recycled through folks and people have graduated our personal program, but it's been such a beautiful thing to see people come in at hard times and they just needed a job. And because they had employment with us, you know, they moved on to some wonderful opportunities. And honestly, those are some of the most proud moments that I have as a franchisee and a business owner. And so I like that you're
Right.
starting with that mindset
Yeah, we are
for
background
sure.
check friendly, so I
Yeah.
let everybody know that because I know there was some who might be a little bit hesitant in that regard because,
Yeah.
but we everybody makes mistakes and we can learn and grow from there and move on and grow into better people, bigger and better people.
Man.
Yo, 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 thanks for listening this far. It's at this point in the episode that I want to talk about Streetwise franchising, teaching, training, building. Streetwise franchising. As a franchise consultant, it's my job, it's my absolute pleasure, and it's my mission to help aspiring entrepreneurs find, launch, and build their ideal business. I've been a franchise owner for almost a decade. I know what it means to struggle. I know what it means to build a team. If you're ready to get off of zero, if you're ready to build something for yourself, visit streetwisefranchising.com. Let's get the conversation started. Don't wait until tomorrow to build your future. It starts today. Streetwise franchising. Stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Let's get back to the episode.
And it's so hard for, and you understand this because again, we come from a similar background in the nonprofit and the low income areas, and I didn't know that before, so that's cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
That man, just so many things impact these individuals' lives, and it's so hard for them to get that chance. And often it's that second chance that you're just so desperate for, and when you get it, just giving the person the avenue for it, they can take it and run with it. So that's super special. What
Right.
were what were some of the biggest fears that you guys had when you were in the investigation process through training to getting ready to launch? I mean, a lot of those fears you probably had to overcome, but there's still probably some big ones that are still there.
Well, first and foremost, probably was the I like it. I always say that my family is a functional, dysfunctional family, same as everybody, pretty normal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
were we going to be able to muscle through the dysfunctional part of us and stay a team and keep working cohesively without doing any damage to those relationships? That's
Yeah.
probably was probably a biggest as a mom of the
Yeah.
family. That was probably one of my biggest fears. Or the other two children who have kind of taken a back seat. Not feeling like we were doing something more for somebody because any kind of favoritism or whatever. She just happens to be the right guy at the right time, and I think they've kind of figured that out. Also, I'm from California, so I say guy about everybody because everybody's a dude. So, so you have to pardon me with that.
Oh no, that's a good answer. So when I started, my dad worked at Apple Computer for 22 years and was looking into his retirement plan, and he looked into franchising, found Mosquito Joe, bought into the franchise, and then put me in charge. And it just so happened to be a week after I got married is when we launched the business. And so my wife and I went in full full in 100%. And so I understand working with family, and there's some nuances to it. It's an art and it's a science, and there's boundaries that you have to have. How have you been able to engage with current franchisees in the system? I always tell people that other franchisees are probably top, if not the most valuable thing you get when you join a franchise. Have you been able to experience that, or is it still too early?
In regards to other canine franchises or just
Franchisee support with Canine.
We actually started out with contacts that we were able to call and ask questions and get more full and honest view to make sure all the numbers are jiving and everything sounds good. And so we started out that way. And since then, we have been, because it's been a while, we have been to two of the annual conferences. And so we've met a lot of people. In the last couple weeks, we reached out to one of the franchises who just had their grand opening to kind of see how that went. And we, he offered so much support. In fact, we were on the phone with him for way longer than I thought we would be, and it was. But I mean, it was much appreciated, though. I mean, it was really nice. He was just a, like I said, a load of support and information that he was willing to share to help us kind of navigate through this, so that we, whatever little landmines he may have stepped on, we can try to avoid on our way in to the finish line, or well, not really the finish line. I guess it's the starting line. It's a weird, it's a weird
There it
thing.
is, though. There it
Yeah,
is. The finish line is just a new starting line.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting. And I love the way you said it like that, because I tell my team all the time, we'll experience these issues and they'll seem like the house is burning down. And then eventually we overcome it and there's a sense of relief. But it's like you overcame that issue. Let's get ready for the next one because we've leveled up here, but that's just going to enable us to handle a much harder and bigger problem as we grow down the line. Okay.
I did mention to someone the other day that this was the storm before the storm. So,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. 100%. 100%. Okay. What resources have you kind of looked into now? Are you doing anything? You reading any books? Do you have any now, or have you had any mentors in the past that kind of help prepare you for this moment?
I've actually been fortunate enough to run into people even at the chamber, to help me navigate through the some of the marketing aspects of it. I mean, we do have our marketing group who helps us, but somewhere here on the ground that I can, just reach out to, and she's and network with other people who've been able to also. Oh, I didn't know we could do that. Helping me with new ideas or new ways to navigate through through the whole business thing, has been very helpful. So the chamber and the local community has been super helpful, and I just kind of funny. My Like I said, my mentors have been I younger than me ladies who I've worked with who have helped me when we've been trying to open up shelters for kids and things like that. So I've kind of drawn on that, and that was a good way for me to brace myself for what was coming, because I just knew how much work this was going to be.
Yeah. How did you get into the nonprofit space? I'm curious about how you got in, and then how you sustained a career in the nonprofit. Did you spend your entire career, or did you do other things even before that?
I've kind of been back and forth. I started
Okay.
out as a early childhood and taught preschool, um, and enjoyed that. Getting to be a 4-year-old every day was amazing. So with that, as I started to take more classes and explore and then further my education, um, I just kind of started to hear about some things that were interesting to me. And so I thought, I still want to work with kids, but I can do it from a different, avenue, and come at it from a different direction. And I first started with a small nonprofit who I think COVID kind of did that in, down in South Dallas. Um, Trying to reach teens that were having a hard time in the school system. I did an internship there and just decided that this is for me. And so once I finished, I just started looking around and found myself as a direct care staff over at City House here in Plano, and spent a few years there, first working just on weekends, and then as then I just got really into it. From there I kind of moved on to a couple different areas, and right now I sit on the board of a organization called the Lullaby House, located in South Dallas. That is a not only a community resource for moms, but they also run a shelter for young women in care who have found themselves pregnant and need a place to stay with their babies.
Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, so the school that I worked for right before Mosquito Joe is Cornerstone Crossroads Academy in South Dallas. And
Okay.
so yeah, a lot of synergy there. What have you been able to take from those experiences into, or what do you plan on being able to take? Because again, it's interesting because you're still in the process of launching.
Yeah.
Um, any of those experiences you think are going to help you out on this side of it?
I think so. From a customer service aspect, I think
There
in
it
my
is.
younger days when I did work customer service, I always swore I'd never do it again. Um, People aren't always nice and everything else. I think I've grown up from that, and using some de-escalation techniques with the kids and learning how to talk to people and meet people where they are. That way you can understand what it is that they're saying, and being an active listener, those kinds of things. I think, because I fully expect, you know, common sense will tell you that I'm not going to be able to make everybody happy all the time. So there may
Amen.
be somebody who maybe we just didn't meet their expectations, but I think I'll be able to use those and um, work through that a lot better than I would have in my younger years, when it was, you're mad at me, I'm mad at you. So
Yeah. No, yeah, emotional intelligence is huge. In my background before, I mean, even in school, I studied sociology and criminal justice, and it helped me directly when I did my inner city educational roles because I was in the west side of Chicago before I went to South Dallas, and then we launched the business. And having emotional intelligence, being able to de-escalate and get to the heart and root of issues is big when you're dealing with customers, but also employees that
yes,
might feel wronged by an employee might be in the middle of a altercation or a conflict with the customer, and then you have to come in and solve the problem, whoever's at fault.
right,
And
right,
yeah, I always tell my team the customer's not always right, but they do have to be satisfied in order to stay our customer. Or they
right,
won't be
right.
our customer for long. Okay, cool. What about your husband? What's his background? What was he doing beforehand?
He is still got a day job, so he's kind of taken it more of a backseat. Like I said, he's just kind of been
Yep.
overseeing the construction part of it, and just kind of minding the numbers here and there. I kind of do the day to day accounting, but he just he's a little bit better at that. I'm a people. I am also a sociology major, so I'm more of a people person than a numbers
I knew
person.
we were linked up. I
Yeah,
knew we were linked up. I knew it when I asked you to come on here.
yeah.
That's cool.
So in that regard, he's still like I said, mostly focusing on his day job, and we check in with him every now and again. He's in the distribution industry. It started out with food service, and now it's still generally the same.
No, actually, it's interesting. I find that there's a good number of individuals that they're a married couple that they want to start a business, and one of them is going to keep the job and maintain, and then the other person is going to transition and actually work the business. And it's so, I love the idea and I love the mindset of it because it's tough to launch a business, period.
Right,
Franchise or not, it takes a good amount of time before you can turn the corner and you're in the black. And there's a lot of times where it's scary and it's not bringing in the money that you thought it was going to. So having consistency in the income and the paycheck is super important. But a lot of franchise concepts sell them to people as semi-absentee, manage the manager, and they put franchise candidates in the mindset that they don't have to be in the business. It seems like you guys are taking care of both worlds because
yes.
one half is invested and the other half is still invested but at a different capacity. Did you guys know that you're going to do that from the beginning?
I think we weren't sure what we were gonna do. We weren't sure exactly how that was gonna be. I am. He's a bigger risk taker than me, so I was a little bit more ambivalent to it. I was like, okay, I'll watch you guys and cheer for you. But as as we've kind of thought through things and figured out that we still need to eat while we're trying to get this thing off the ground and going, and before we can so we still need to have money coming in so that the lights turn on at our house as well. So we decided that it would be, obviously, coming from the nonprofit, this, I wasn't going to be able to pay our bills. So it made more sense for me to get in with this. And I think that my daughter and I are good partners together, so I think that she and I kind of speak the same language. So I think we work well together, and it just was more of an obvious fit for the success of it.
That's so cool and it's so empowering. And Did you know you had it in you, or are you finding things about yourself that you didn't know you had?
Oh no, I doubt myself all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a risk taker. I think people make the mistake when they talk to me of thinking that I'm a little more brave than I am. I don't like scary movies and I don't like risk. And
So you're learning now that I mean, just to put an answer to it, you feel like you're stronger, that you're more capable. Is there anything that you've surprised yourself in now that you're starting? I mean, you're well down this path. You can't
yeah,
really turn back at this point.
no, I'm in it.
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah, I mean, even me just sitting down talking to you right now is a huge stretch for me. I mean, just in this kind of capacity, not to talk one on one with anybody. I mean, I can do that obviously, but in this sort of setting is
Sure.
different for me. So I have found that I have stretched in ways that I could not even imagine. Speaking at the chamber when we first met in front of a crowd was, and at 7 a.m. Are you kidding me? Those
Yeah,
were two things that I never thought I would find myself doing.
sure.
So yeah, this is all huge for me. I'm more of a one-on-one person. To talk in a crowd and address people is very difficult for me, but I have found myself doing it because we have to.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that about you for taking the risk and putting yourself out there because, again, for me, when I think about who I want to come on as a guest and who I want to tell their story, I'm I am selfishly thinking about the listener, and I have very specific avatars in my mind, and I see somebody like you. And I can have a vision in my mind of who you are, but I don't truly know you until I interact with you. But I know there's so many people like you that are thinking about taking the step that you're taking, you and your family. And for you, even though you may doubt yourself in the area, for you to have the courage to do it is going to help out a lot of people who might doubt themselves as well. So even before you've launched, like you're touching a lot of lives right now. And that's really special.
Well, I hope so because that is an area that is close to my heart. Obviously, we've talked about it a bunch here. The community and anybody that I can help elevate is I'm all about that. That's my primary goal above all.
I love that. Okay. So I'm a big believer that it's our pain that leads us to our purpose. It's the moments that where we've been the most hurt, where we've experienced uh, failure, yes, but failure sometimes is seen as a negative. But I'm just curious and like, has there ever been what is your purpose? Like what is your why? Like, for you, I mean, it's got to be bigger than this business because if it's just because you like the community and passionate, and I want to know what it is that drives you and maybe where that came from.
I think all encompassing. I experienced loss very young in life, and I made some not so great choices as a teenager, which then led me to being an older college student and getting myself together as an adult, a much older adult, already a mother of three. I sat in my son's wrestling practices with my laptop on the mat, and my hand up so that nobody would fall on me, finishing papers. So it hasn't been that
Wow.
long. I've had to, kind of change, shift gears back and forth, pivot here and there. And I think I just, now I just want to be the person that I always wished I had for other people. So
I
that
love
if I
that.
can save you from having to take the wrong turns that I did, then I would be very happy with that.
I love that. This whole concept of being a late bloomer as a bad thing, but it's it's just beautiful to see people coming around in their space, even if to you it might seem later. I mean, there's just so much opportunity out there. What would you say to somebody who is maybe struggling to get off of zero? Maybe it's your younger self, or somebody that you're just thinking about as, they might have a dream, they might have a desire, but they're afraid to take the first step. How would you speak into that person?
I guess it would be a lot like the conversation that we've had, that you're stronger than you think you are. And
Mm.
you can accomplish so much, but you can't. One of my favorite quotes is, "You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And that's,
Yeah,
yeah, it's my
let's
favorite. I love
go.
it. I use it often. And so, you know, that would probably be, one of my go-tos for somebody like that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I have so many like thoughts and things, but I mean in general, I'm just really excited for your journey and thinking about big milestones. I mean, the next one is your big launch coming up. I mean, that's got to be
Yes.
the biggest thing you got on the plate right now is the launch. When did you say it was?
We're fingers crossed. Everything goes well. May 4th. We're finishing up the construction this week. We're actually supposed to do a walkthrough just a little bit later on today to make sure we've got the punch list together. We're just waiting on a couple of inspections to get that certificate of occupancy. And, then we can get everybody in for training. Things are, like I said, are taking a little bit longer than we would have liked them to do. So we've had to do some pivoting this week. We're going to start training with our staff, but I've reached out to some of our chamber members who've helped me with some space to bring them in, and the chamber itself has helped me with the room so that we can bring them in to train. So we're going to do that this week, and just I feel like we have a good team. I know everybody needs to make money and to pay their bills or put gas in their car, whatever they are in their life. But I'm hoping that this little team that I've put together so far is able to kind of hang with me while we get through this kind of rough patch and then head into, like I said, it's the storm before the storm. You'll be working, just maybe not quite
Yeah.
as much as you want to right this second.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, sometimes early on you got to wear a lot of hats and you got to have people that are willing to wear a lot of hats. That's why I love young people. I love people that are earlier in their career. They're a little more ambitious, willing to try, willing to make mistakes. But they have to have a passion within themselves too, and they have to be willing to get better and be coachable. And that's really exciting. Okay,
Yeah,
so as we kind of
it,
wrap
it
this
really is.
thing,
We can't
I
wait.
want to pull it back to the prospective franchisee, the franchise candidate, somebody they've done some investigations, they've looked at a few different brands, and
Can
now
you start
they're
again? You cut out. You froze.
well. Here's the question. Are
Okay.
you ready? Here's the question. Um, when you got started, what can a franchise candidate look forward to after signing? Like what happens after you sign? What did you go through? I mean, a while ago now. It's been a
Yeah,
couple
after
years,
we
but
signed, it was about real estate hunting and trying to find a place that we opted to go a different route. We're not leasing the building. We opted to purchase it. So we've got that hanging over us. So we keep reminding ourselves it's another part of our investment. So we that was the other thing that took us so long, was finding an available building to buy and not lease. There are plenty to lease, but not exactly what we were looking for. Um, and then it was just a lot of exciting, just planning, dreaming is almost like buying your first house, and you're going to put this here and you're going to do this way, and it was just a lot of just thinking, all these
yeah,
big dreams that you have in your head are finally coming true, and you just kind of keeping the ball rolling and investigating. Now I loved an old learner, but I I still love to learn. So now it's reading about dog breeds and body language and all the things that you need to know if you're going to be working with dogs. I worked with children all my life, but and I've had dogs all my life, but I know my dogs. I don't know your dogs. So
yeah.
trying to figure that out and make sure that I'm the best that I can be for our guests when they come.
Was there a training that the corporate team brought you to, like an academy that got you guys ready to go?
Yes, we have Canine University. Myself, my general manager daughter Madison, and my assistant manager Skylar spent 2 weeks in Fanwood, New Jersey, in the beginning of ending of January, February, for some classroom training, marketing training, just everything from the ins and outs, and then another week of at their flagship facility doing hands-on training. We've disinfected, we've taken dogs for walks, we've helped with daycare, all of the things that need to be learned while you're, trying to get in this.
That's super important. And another reason why people should think about the difference between an emerging franchise and an established franchise? Because it sounds like, Canine Resorts there's more locations, it's more established. And so they had a ton of reps for you guys to go to whenever you first got started. And it was very clear the things that you had to do to get up to par. I mean, is that a fair thing to say?
Oh yeah, everything from the initial real estate part of it to the building and bidding with the general contractors, and then on to operations, and then we're still working with marketing. Yeah, they're going to come out and for our grand opening, and they're going to make sure that everything runs, that we're up and running smoothly. So they're still, they don't take the training wheels off right away, which is amazing.
Are there any metrics they want to get you guys to hit at in regards to people that are signed up before launch? I mean, do you have a goal of a certain number of members? How does that work to prepare for the actual launch itself?
We are in pre-sales right now.
Okay.
We're running some pre-sale specials. My two girls have been on it. They are following up on leads and making phone calls and stuff. So we do need to have an established kind of clientele for the beginning of it. You don't want to open your doors with your own dogs. I could have stayed home with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it could happen, but you're hoping not. And the goal is, and so they're very helpful with helping you hit all of those marks. And we meet once a week with them, and they're um, if you misunderstand it, like sometimes an immature mind could be like they're all over you, but it
Yeah.
really is more of an encouraging and a directive, to
Okay.
try and help you. So that you can be successful. Like I said, it's the Hello Fresh. So, somebody's
Yeah.
standing over you, you're going to burn it, you know, or you forgot that ingredient. You better
Oh,
put that in.
don't forget that over there. You got to add it in after you do the other thing.
Right. So it's, and you're either going to listen and your food is going to taste good, or you're not going to listen and it's going to be burnt and gross and you're going to be sad. So
Yeah.
in this case,
Yeah, no
I'm going to
doubt.
be poor and, just, it'll be devastating.
Yeah. I hear that. Okay, so something that that would help me too is understand, what about the different revenue streams that are built into the business? What are the different ways is it all boarding? Are there any other products or services that are offered other than just boarding?
We do boarding and daycare. We are very specific.
Okay.
It is very streamlined. With the thought process being that it is a fear-free, stress-free environment for the dogs. So we don't offer anything that would, that can be hard on a dog if they're already anxious about being in a different environment. We do offer baths, but we don't do full grooming. We don't do any toenail clipping or anything like that. That tends to upset a dog who's not
Sure.
familiar with their surroundings. And it also, with streamlining it, it allows us to to take special care of the dogs, because you're only focused on this one thing. My general manager is not freaking out because the groomer called in sick, or that kind of thing. And now you have a
Got
bunch
it.
of upset people because their dog's going to go home stinky. you know
Got
um
it.
so
Is there engagement built into the boarding and the daycare? Are they? I don't really know what happens when I've dropped my dog off in the past. They just kind of take him to the back room, and
Right.
it hasn't happened very often with me. I usually, when I drop my dog off, it is to the groomer. I haven't necessarily had to drop for a longer trip or anything like that. Yeah. What
Thanks
type
to
of
get me
engagement?
yeah. There's, when you bring your dog in, be it for daycare or boarding, whatever you're doing, in the initial process is where we would do an evaluation of the dog to make sure that the dog is going to be happy. We've talked about revenue, and everybody loves the money, but you don't want unhappy clients, and you don't want
Yep.
accidents to happen. Dogs have teeth, so it can be dangerous if they get upset. So you want to do an evaluation and gradually introduce them into the daycare situation. And see how they react to it. If by watching their body language and how they're reacting, if they're reactive, then it may not be a good fit. You may need to draw it back. And in that case, for a boarder, we would offer some personal playtime.
Got it.
Everybody isn't social. Some of us aren't friendly people. Some dogs aren't friendly dogs. So the only thing that we require is that they have all their vaccines, of course,
Okay.
and that they are people friendly. Whether or not they're dog friendly, we can handle that. We can
Cool.
just offer a different course, to take care of them.
Yeah, no, awesome. That's super helpful. What type of synergy partners, and this is going to adapt and grow as you get more experience in your business. And I can speak that into you right now just with pure confidence. But
Thank
what
you.
synergy partners are you looking at now of types of businesses that you're going to work well with as you get up and running?
Yeah, I have actually reached out at some of our grassroots events because we are in the community getting our name out
Nice.
there, and I have run
Love it.
into some organic dog food people. I reached out that I met at the farmers market the other day, who I've invited to our grand opening.
Love it.
Go ahead and present yourself as a vendor. I don't know who may or may not be interested, but I would love to give you the opportunity to present that. We've got some mobile groomers and some other facilities that just do grooming because we fit in perfect with them. Some of the dog bakeries we've reached out to, obviously the pet professionals like veterinarians, those types that some of them do boarding, but they don't do daycare. So we've kind of reached out to those people and try to establish relationships. We've gone in, we've with our literature and gifts. We always come bearing gifts, so you're happy to see us. And let them know what we're all about and what we're doing. And we've gotten some really good responses, great responses actually. We've got a
Yeah.
lot of people who we've met at random places who are just oh, I can't wait, keep me posted. And so we kind of reach back out just to make sure that because it's taken a while to get to this point, to make sure that they haven't fallen off the our radar or whatever, and they're still, no, we're waiting, yay. So it's been those kinds of other establishments have been pretty amazing. I've also made it a point to try, and when we do bring these gifts to market, when we're out marketing, I tried to reach out to some of the other smaller businesses, some of the cafes and bakeries and whatnot, to let them know this is what I'm doing. I'm going to take your stuff with me. And, so if you want to put in a card or a menu or whatever, I am happy to do that to you. A couple people have offered me discounts, which has been lovely, but that was not my intent. My intent was just to let them know that I was doing this. So when you see me coming, I'm going to be asking for a lot of stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
going to take it out and let everybody know you're here.
Nice. Okay, cool. I love that. One thing I wanted to touch on, without getting too specific into any numbers, a lot of people don't really understand how to finance a franchise. And there's a couple of different ways. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can finance and fund a business. What were some things that you guys looked into? And then what did you guys finally decide on using as an avenue in order to get the initial investment kind of all set up and squared away?
We went with a small business loan.
Okay, so like an SBA
Yeah,
or
yeah,
okay, what was
exactly.
that? What was that process like going through the SBA?
Um, they asked for a lot of information, so in that
Yeah.
way, it was painful. I remember my husband laughing and saying, "I think they asked for my third grade report card." So but after watching people fill out stuff for grants and whatnot in the nonprofit side of it, I was like, yeah, it's the government. When you're messing with the government, they're going to ask you for all of this stuff. They got to make sure that everything is in order. In that regard, we had some, when the interest rates were changing and that kind of stuff, was like, oh, okay, can we get this closed now, today? So before they do anything else to kind of dampen our mood.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now the SBA process, I say it often because we went through the SBA with our second franchise business. We have two. We have Mosquito Joe, Pest Control, and then we have Groovy Hughes, which is paint and power wash. And we used the SBA to launch our second. We did an initial 20% cash investment and then went through the SBA. And I had never in that moment, I've since been humbled quite a few times, but I was humbled so much in filling out the SBA process. I had no idea how strenuous that was going to be. I underestimated that
I
big
think I
time.
could have
But
joined the FBI before I got an SBA loan.
it's tough. It's tough, but it's an avenue that not very many people understand. And so I like making people aware of it. There's the Rob's program is another one, rollover for a business startup, where you can use money from retirement to move
Yeah.
into a C Corp. That's something that people do. But no, it's super helpful to hear stories of people who are actually going through the motions and taking those steps and walking it out. So, Miss Suzanna, I appreciate you for coming on. Is there anything else that you want to ask me, or that I didn't ask you, that you wanted to talk about?
No, I appreciate your time. This was a pretty incredible experience. I was not sure what to expect because, I never had it before. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Well, I got to tell you, you are, I'm excited for you. I'm really excited for
Thank
you.
you. I
I'm
appreciate
excited
it.
for your family and what you guys are doing in the community. And you've got a spot here on the Streetwise stage. So if there's ever anything you want to come back and talk about, ask me anything, please let me know. And I'm excited to connect with you as fellow members of the Allen Chamber of Commerce with my businesses. And no, it's been really good to talk to you here. And I know that your story is going to help out a lot of folks. So until next time, you can find Suzanna Austin, look up Canine Resorts, find these guys. I mean, I'm sure you guys got social media pages
Yes, sir. Canine Luxury
online.
Resort.
Yeah,
Yes.
awesome. That's great. Well, until next time, stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Peace.
All right, everybody, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Hey, if this episode added any value to your life at all, please like it, share it, give me a 5-star review. It's the only way that this show is going to gain traction and help more people achieve their dreams. If you're ready to start your franchise journey, visit streetwisefranchising.com. Let's set up a time to talk. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Until next time, stay humble, stay hungry, stay streetwise. Peace.